Here's a question for you. Would you like to make your life richer? And if you did, and you could do it consciously, what would that be? How would your life grow? How many opportunities would come your way because you're seeing the world differently, hearing the world differently, and feeling the world differently? And that's what we're going to be talking about today on this slightly longer podcast. It's not that long, but it's just to get you to think, how can we consciously create a rich life? Because I believe we can, and it's simple. It's easy. All you've got to do is make the effort. Have a listen after this to find out how. Hey, welcome to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. So pleased you're here. Your time is valuable and precious. So what I would like to do is fill that time that you share with me with the most shiny golden nuggets to help improve your life, to get your goals, your wishes, your dreams to come to fruition quicker, bigger, better than you could ever imagine, using your imagination, using hypnosis, using NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, all of that, using all things of the mind. No brain hacks, but real solid processes to deconstruct what people do to become great. And then find the processes that we can install that in ourselves to support you in your dreams and get what you really want in life. Anyway, who am I? I'm Paul Clough, and just going to have conversations with you in this podcast and get you thinking, but also share those processes because we're going to have so much fun. That's it. We're going to have fun for a change because we can sit down for a spell and have more fun than we can stand, creating the world we want to live in and be the person we want to be in that world. The only limitation is your imagination. And you got bucket loads, by the way, bucket loads. Have a listen. You really must.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Okay, my friend. Have you ever had this experience? Driving somewhere, if you drive, that is. Driving somewhere, and there's a portion of that journey that you just can't remember. How the bloody hell did I get here? What happened? Those roundabouts, those traffic lights. What happened? Or have you ever watched a TV program and someone said, "What's it about?" And you go, "Do you know what? I haven't a clue. I've been watching it, but I just haven't been there." What about walking the dog? Maybe something like that. You walk the dog and you come back and there's nothing. It was like automatic pilot. Maybe sometimes we read a book and we read through those pages and there's nothing. Nothing went in. And you see, these are the things I think we can change slightly. Okay, the driving need to stay. We've got our unconscious mind protecting us and things like that, because obviously we got from A to B, and I don't want you to think of other things. I want you to concentrate. But generally, these are things where they're just instances in our lives where we seem to go on automatic pilot and there's just nothing there. And I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be nice if we did things differently? Maybe this might be a different way for being in the moment, because obviously if you're driving and you're in the moment, that's a pretty good place to be. You know, peripheral vision's going, you're in the moment, you're taking stock of everything. So that might be good in driving as well. But I just wondered whether we could just use our time more wisely and get out of this automatic pilot mode. Because if you add that up over the days, the weeks, the years, what a lot of time when we're just not here in this world. It's weird, isn't it? And the thing is, I think what happens also is these things we do them so often, so regular, the same way every time, that they just become habitual. So we don't think, because we don't need to. It's as if our body just carries on doing what we do. And I thought to myself, how much time a day is that we could use for just creating something different in our life? I think it would make it so much more interesting, so much more richer to get out of that fogginess, as it were. I think it's like a fog because we can't see anything. We're not remembering anything. It'd be nice to break that pattern, wouldn't it? Because I think these are opportunities. These are real opportunities that we are wasting. Because you imagine when you're driving to be looking around, not looking around with your head and things, but taking notice of what is happening, where you're going. You know, if you're walking the dog, noticing the wonders, the richness of the world around you, the people around you. Maybe that TV program, making sure it's a good program to get not lost in, but just get involved in. A book that you really get involved in, and then you learn something. And then we write notes. So we're doing it, I guess, with intention, aren't we? Trying to live in the moment, the now, with intention. And I want you to break that pattern, not that pattern of it living in intention, obviously. That'd be silly. But break that pattern of that fogginess, that boredom, that doing things by rote, doing things by just habitualized in our life, and use that time wisely. But the thing is, this is not the same as breaking the pattern by brushing your teeth with the wrong hand or going to work in a different direction. They are used to break patterns, but for a very specific reason. They're to give you, like if we're trying to lose weight or we're trying to do something different, it's trying to get your mind to realize you don't have to do things the same way. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm really thinking now, how can we break the pattern by finding things more interesting to do, finding more things interesting in the things that we do? We're going to do them anyway. We're going to walk that dog. We're going to read that book. We're going to watch that TV program. We're going to drive. We're going to do all those things. But if we could do that with just a touch more awareness, because when you do that, I just think life becomes so much richer. I mean, when you think about it, if we just took our time, we've got to set our intention, obviously, but just to really look and see what you see. Because if you look for beauty, you'll see it. If you look for richness, you'll see it. If you look for things that are different, you'll see it, and you'll really notice that every blooming thing is different. In fact, the great hypnotherapist Milton Erickson used to send people on a task, maybe walking up this thing called Squaw Peak, which was like a mountain-type walk, because he knew as they walked up there, they would notice something different on that task. Also, he'd get them to go and look to see if they can find two blades of grass the same, and you can't. Nothing is the same. Everything is unique. And it would then give them that little, so this is what I'm trying to do, but without doing that type of thing, to actually set something in our lives to find that richness right now. Really look. So as I say, if you're walking the dog, what could you see? If you set your intention to look for beauty, you will find it. There's the other thing you can do is people watch. Not staring. No, that could be quite intimidating, I guess, and rude. But as you're walking around, you'll notice people. And think to yourself, what type of comment could I make? Not that I'm going to, not out loud, but what type of comment could I make? Like, what a wonderful hat you're wearing. I think you're so out there wearing those type of clothes or walking like that. Oh, you look an interesting person. You've got a good stride. And it gets that mind thinking. Maybe you could even in the coffee shop, where we just mundanely just do stuff just for a few minutes. As we're drinking, we're looking around, hearing the volume, the hubbub, and noticing how people act and react with each other. Because we can learn from that, just seeing them communicate, looking at their non-verbal communication, the way they move their body. You'll see people matching and mirroring each other without, being unconsciously matching and mirroring. So that you'll see people as if they were a mirror reflection of each other. People will drink at the same time, eat at the same time, lean in, lean out. And it's so interesting because we can learn from that. And doesn't it make it interesting to have a cup of coffee that way? Or maybe just experience a taste of that coffee. Instead of just slurping it and drinking it, maybe see and feel and taste what differences, what smell, what the aroma. Can we really get into it to find out how much we enjoy it and what do we enjoy about these things? Because each one of these is making our life more interesting to us and will eventually make it more interesting to other people because we will be interested in them, because we're going to use these type of skills, becoming habitualized ourselves, becoming interested in other things, other people. And when we're interested in other people, we tend to be more interesting ourselves. It's just a thing. Or sometimes when we've just got 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, but 10 minutes of I don't know what to do. Well, in that 10 minutes, we could actually just have 10 minutes of madness. What's 10 minutes of madness? Well, you could do like dancing, that as if no one's watching. But that's not the 10 minutes of madness I'm thinking of. I mean, with a pencil and paper. And just write down the most weird and wonderful things that you would like to do, maybe. With no editing. There is no, well, that'll never happen. You just let your imagination run wild. Or maybe you're thinking of, I'd love to be an entrepreneur. Well, have 10 minutes of madness, thinking of all the different things and ideas that you have. Many might not come to fruition. But when you do this, it gets your unconscious mind to get this habit of thinking in wonderful, wild ideas. And where do the really good ideas come from? They come from this wildness, this difference. They say all geniuses have this little touch of, not madness, but this seemingly madness where it's just, and they get to see things differently. So we're making that 10 minutes where we're with intention to let ourselves go. Imagine you thinking of projects you might want to do. Maybe there was an art project and you just go, well, if I could anything, what would I like to do? Where would I like to go? If I was a traveller, where would I like to travel? Who would I like to meet? What type of people would I like to talk to converse and communicate with? What things would I like to learn? And just have 10 minutes of pure, unbounded imagination. And again, you do this every now and again. Your unconscious mind is going to start doing it for you because we're going to start habitualizing these wonderful things that make our life richer. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Maybe you just decide to listen to something like music, but a type of music that you've never listened to before. Maybe you're driving the car. Now you can put on some music that you've never listened to before. And you get to experience something while you're doing nothing else but driving. So wouldn't it be wonderful to suddenly experience, because suddenly you learn something, because you're just stepping out your little comfort zone, but no one's there to see you. Maybe you find a book or with a subject matter that isn't really you, or an autobiography of someone who isn't really the type of person you would be interested in. And just notice for a small period of time what you could learn. So if you set your intention to, I know this person isn't my type of person, but I wonder what I can learn from this. And people will find that the more you do these diverse things, you find things that will interest you, stimulate you, give you ideas, set that imagination running like a good one. And it's really all starting, I guess, It's not a guess at all, is it, Cluffy? We're all coming back round to setting our intention to learn something different. Even that learning something different is just to experience something different. And if we just said to ourselves, what can I see? What can I learn on this walk with the dog? What could I notice that I haven't noticed before? I can remember walking around the place where I live, and it's a little town centre, and it's got a lovely little high street. And I looked above, and there's this wonderful brickwork carving on this corner of a wall of a face in the brickwork. Never seen it before. I thought, wow. And I've been walking past it before and never seen it. But now it's in my mind's eye, and I'm thinking, what a wonderful, who was the tradesman who created that? Who had that idea? That madness, that 10 minutes of madness to say, well, we're building this shop and these flats and apartments above. Let's create a face out of the brickwork. And it's like it's like a statue it's so wonderful. So simple. But it came from someone stretching their imagination. And I believe this is the way to do it. And I think if you just took put it this way. If you looked in your day and said, what are the things I'm doing which I just do every day, normally, that I have to spend my time doing? And then set an intention, well, I wonder how I can make it richer, what I can learn from it. Or maybe what type of books I could read, what type of music could I listen, where could I listen to it? Where could I have that 10 minutes of madness? Where could I just watch people and learn how to communicate? Because when you see people with that rapport, you're seeing it so naturally. It is natural rapport. And then you can learn from that and use it. There you go. That's just a few thoughts. But one of the big things about this is, and I think this is the thing that so many people miss, these are lovely concepts, will enrich your life. But then maybe just on a Sunday afternoon, well, we're just putting things in order from the whole week. We're getting ready for the next week. We just do a review. I now review my journals to see what things I missed. But we just review. What did I do? What did I do differently this week? What happened? Because these are stories that you create and make your life richer. So when you have a conversation with somebody, you have got all this wonderful detail now, as opposed to, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. What have you been doing? No, I'm walking the dog. I did a drive. I had a cup of coffee. No, you won't realize. I was sitting in this coffee shop and I saw these two people, and their animation, their talk, and the voice they used was so brilliant. I had to go and say something or just smile. Or I was walking the dog, and have you seen the way the trees move and the colours of the leaves right now? Or like me, hey, I was walking down the high street. Have you noticed that face in the brickwork? And some people might say, oh, yeah. Have you noticed something else? Or no, I haven't. But, and something else comes up. So doing that review, setting your intention to make things into, well, just a life of richness. Because that's, this is all our personal development, but doing it in a wonderful way and using the time we're going to use anyway. We're not actually carving out and making time, and I know we've all got time. If you look through your day, you know you've all got this time. But we're using the things we would normally do and having richness with them. And then you can look forward to, I'm looking forward to driving that car. I'm looking forward to walking the dog. I'm looking forward to having that cup of coffee and really, I want to try a different one and see and compare the tastes and see how I feel with it. Sometimes when we do that, it brings up emotions and memories. Smell is such a big anchor for bringing back memories. So we can experience different things and get the aroma and go, that reminds me when I was. And it's a lovely memory to have, maybe. And you get to relive it. And you didn't have to do anything other than sniff. So many different ways we can do this. So many different ways. And As I say, we're here for personal development, but this is such an easy way to do it. It's simple. And in simplicity, we know there is genius. So have a little music. This was going to be like a 5-minute quickie, but it's extended itself, I guess, to the longer podcast. But I'd love to hear about your experiences of this. Tell me, if you would, what you got out of the experiences. And also, did you find other things to do? Other ways to use your time? Or other times when you felt were the things you just did and now you're doing it differently? I'd love to hear those stories, your stories. All you have to do is email me, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. And it comes to me. And I'd love to then be able to share them with people so we could have like a feedback on the richness of life, because we share our experiences. Again, this is your story, my story. And when we share it, other people get the benefit of it. And the other thing, when you share it and you're typing that email to me, you're reliving it again, which is so good. Because you have to remember it, see it in all its detail, and make sure the words are the things that you're saying to yourself, that internal voice as you describe the pictures in the movie in your mind. So you get to get those feelings again and again. So that's the benefit of emailing me. I'd love you to do that. And also I'd love you to share this episode, and just do have fun. Have more fun than you can stand. Okay? Oh, look at that thing on the thing you're playing on. Is there a subscribe button? Oh, you might want to just press it right now. Anyway, do that. Have fun. Let me know how what are the riches that you found in your life? I'd love to hear them. I really would. Thank you so much for your time. Let's have a rich flight home now, because it's time to fly, my friends. Bye-bye.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.